Arsenic in baby formula, lead in baby food. Those alarming headlines hit everywhere when the Clean Label Project released a controversial study claiming lead, arsenic, mercury, BPA, and acrylamide can be found in some of the best-selling baby foods and formulas.
Clean Label Project decided to study baby food because the first 1,000 days of life are critically important to the neurodevelopment, so we wanted to see what we were feeding America's most vulnerable populations. We pulled a list of the top 500 selling infant formulas and baby foods in America. We tested these products, and many of them are certified organic, labeled as natural, non-GMOs. Sometimes what's not on the label is what's most important. We tested for over 130 different industrial and environmental contaminants, things like heavy metals, including arsenic, cadmium, lead, and mercury, pesticide residues, mycotoxins, acrylamides, and antibiotic residues. From my perspective,
that's a lot of lead.
These results were pretty alarming.
We found lead, a third of the baby food that we tested. We found arsenic in over half the products we tested. There's a little bit of cadmium there too, huh? We found cadmium, which is another heavy metal, in about half the products. We found pesticides in 5 to 10% of the products we tested. We found a chemical called acrylamide that's been linked to brain damage and cancer and a number of other adverse outcomes in about 10% of the products we tested, that it can affect the development of a baby. Wow. I had this assumption walking in, I think I was just naive, that there was going to be little to no lead of any kind found in baby food. And the fact that we found it in a third of these products, and in some cases we found rather significant amounts of lead, that's alarming.
So could your baby's food be toxic? Today we're going to take you beyond the headlines and set the record straight. And join us is CEO and founder of the Clean Label Project, Jackie Bowen, and via Skype, the study's lead scientist, Dr. Sean Callan. And rounding out the conversation today are two doctors that are not connected with the study, board-certified pediatrician Dr. Jay Rabinowitz and toxicologist Dr. Noreen Khan-Mayberry, who specializes in environmental, space food, and nutritional toxicology. We're gonna get right to business, starting with Jackie, because obviously these studies, the headlines, have given concern to parents who are now worried about brain damage, reproductive harm, cancer even, when it comes to their babies.
And yes, they should be alarmed. The American Academy of Pediatrics says that there's no safe levels of lead, but yet we found it in 36% of products. We found arsenic in 78% of products. And this is what we're feeding America's most vulnerable populations. For us at Clean Label Project, it's about seeing past the marketing and evaluating products based on product purity. The World Health Organization says that the first 1,000 days of life are so critically important to the long-term health and wellness of a child. And it's not just lead that we found. We actually tested certified organic products, and we did see lower levels of pesticides. But we also saw, almost in some cases, twice as much heavy metals. For us at Clean Label Project, it's really about seeing past the marketing and really getting down to true product quality. That's what's most important to us.
And Jackie, I understand your statement. You release this information, but couldn't have you released this information after better studies and peer review and publish these results first in a more scientific manner than just posting them and saying this is what's happening unequivocally without any sort of checks and balances?
The peer review process can take months, even years. So for us at Clean Label Project, it's about getting the information out there. Right now it is going through peer review. It's with the Environmental Health Perspectives, a journal of the National Institute of Health. So it is going through that.
You know, given the amount of alarm that it must be creating among parents, mothers, you know, I would have liked to have seen it done, you know, a little bit different order.
Right. And let's talk about that. Dr. Khan-Mayberry, you're a toxicologist.
Yes.
When you hear about this as a toxicologist, what's your reaction?
So, you know, the first thing I want to do is I want to differentiate what are the species of toxic chemicals out there, because that affects toxicity. You know, we talk about arsenic, we talk about chromium, but if I don't know what species of arsenic is actually showing up, or I don't know what species of chromium is showing up, I could think, wow, this is highly toxic, but it could be a much lesser toxic form. Also, hexavalent chromium, as you know, that's cancer causing, but chromium 0, it's an essential nutrient. So I need to know that in order to make a really good, fair toxicology assessment, because you guys rely on that as parents, as doctors, when you're making an assessment, you need the best data available. So if I don't have that, I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna say, look, test and make sure that you give me the differentiation in species.